community artists who want to draw all the champions as babies, but as far, at least for me, he is the only one I've actually seen as a child.
That's already going to be spammed to me on Twitter by the time I get back to my desk.
What have you done?
There you go. Well,
Looking forward to Baby Androxus.
Oh, wow.
Oh, gosh.
I guess Baby Androxus doesn't have the arm. I don't know when he got
maybe
cursed.
not.
I have
Who
no
knows
idea.
when it happened?
Yeah.
It could have been when he was baby.
It might, yeah, it could be.
Yep.
But there he is, standing strong.
Yes.
And this is probably one of the coolest kits that I have seen in any game at any point. But before we even get into that part, I just want to talk about the way he looks. He's got, you can see, like, I guess, like the futureness of the realm, but still kind of retaining some of what we know.
So in the future we kind of envision for the realm is the corruption was something that kind of started slow and escalated over time. So technology was allowed to kind of advance along still pretty aggressively. So Atlas does have access to some technology and tricks that may not be available in the current age of the realm, but not far off either. And at a certain point, even with all this advanced weaponry and ability, that the corruption still manages to overtake everyone in the realm, paladin and magistrate alike.
So, like I said, new frontline. I mean, I guess you could kind of imagine he's really big. Normally,
Yep.
big doesn't always translate to frontline, but in this case it does at least. He's coming through. He's got some really awesome armor, and we get to talk about it. You can see he has 3950 health there, but I think his base is 3500.
That's correct.
Right? And so
He's a
he's
big
going to be
boy.
sitting there. He's got some augments going on for this one, and we get to go through all of his abilities, his weapons, and his talents. But first, we're going to look at the Chrono Cannon, the thing you see on the right side of your screen. So, Charles, why don't you just talk to us about what this weapon is and how unique it is?
Yeah. I guess, so speaking of, like, the 210 gun arm in the room, Atlas's in hand is the Chrono Cannon, and it's a very interesting weapon. It's very unlike a lot of things we've done, and a small anecdote, we have been sitting on this gun for, like, over a year. In terms of, like, we wanted to put this in the game for a while. Because, like, a year and a half ago or something, like, Massey, one of the programmers, was, like, fixing a bug with Kinessa, and he got into the state, like, 10:30 or something at night. We were all there, and it was just, like, he just fired a shot and blew out all her ammo, like, in, like, a really, really fast burst. And it, like, spread out like a shotgun, and it was really cool because their traces, like, last a while, so it, like, lingered, and they were like, whoa, this is really cool. We gotta put this in somewhere. And, like, a year and a half later, it's like, oh, hey, Time Boy.
Also the only true gun arm in the game.
That's right. Dude, I love it. I love how thick and meaty it feels. I could have chose better words.
No, I think that was a perfect description of it, although maybe, you know.
It just died.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Impressively huge.
This
Charles.
is what happens when I get on camera. So yeah, this is a very different weapon than what we're used to. So if you notice there, like Kevin's just like tapping it right now, and it's like doing like a big burst of shots, 15 shots actually, each one dealing about 60. So do your math, it's like 900 damage total if you land all those shots. But as you can see, it's pretty inaccurate, and it's not exactly got like the best fall off. But if you noticed, when he started like clicking it a little bit, it was actually the crosshair was actually zooming in a little bit because this is a charged up weapon. It's not exactly like Imani or Shaolin in terms of the charge up functionality, but essentially what happens is the more you charge it up, the more accurate it's going to be, and it's going to fire fewer shots. And there are like 4 different like fire modes essentially, depending on how long you hold it. First one's the one we saw right there is just like a big blast, 15 shots. Next one's 10 shots. Next one's 5 shots. And the last one, if you hold it all the way, is a super powerful 900 damage single shot. Which I guess if you headshot, it's like 13 hundo. It's not much, you know. Yeah. So this weapon is one of the more challenging weapons in the game. It has a lot of potential.
Yeah.
You can like, it's got great, its best DPS is up front, like face-to-face combat with another front line where you're just tapping it. But if you choose, you can invest a lot of time to charge it up and try to poke someone at range, depending on like how long you want to hold it. And it does fire automatically, so you can't exactly like hold it like and pop out and just do a big burst like Shaolin or Imani. You've got to be very careful with your timing. If they duck behind a corner before you're fully charged, too bad.
And if I remember, so it's like a 1.5 second charge time on that, like that big burst shot?
That's right, 1.5 second total charge time and a 0.9 second post-fire time. So really the DPS, it only gets worse the more you hold it.
Yeah.
And if you notice, his reload is actually him rewinding the bullets back into his gun, which is such a cool touch.
Dude, there's so many cool touches on this gun. I love it.
Yeah.
He never actually has to go out and find him. Like, I guess other champions, like Shaolin is going after the battle. He's having to go pick up every single arrow he filed that.
Not when you control time.
I was just like, I'm just going to right back into it. And that is, I guess, like the first one, like, detail of what's going on. He's also got some other amazing abilities. And I kind of want to talk about his alt fire first. We'll get to see it in game in just a little bit, but it is called Setback. And what exactly does it do?
So
this one's fun.
With the sort of like time traveler, like we wanted to like almost all his powers to like be time related in some way. And so Setback is the sort of, you know, like classic time manipulation fantasy, rewinding somebody. So basically what happens is he'll like do a little, his gun will like charge up and like shoot out this sort of ball of time energy, and when it like hits somebody, they are rewound back to where they were 4 seconds ago, and their health is lowered to whatever lowest point it was within that 4-second period. Yeah, there you go. And they will like take the path that they traveled. So if they like did some like you'll actually like you'll see it on a little bit later, but from their perspective, it's like they are literally being like like they're rewinding like video footage or something from what they just saw. And it's really useful tool for controlling a fight. If you like start out a fight really early, you want to like, okay, I want to send this guy back a little bit, maybe, you know, make this a 4v5 for a little bit, make them have to catch up to like, you know, reset the fight again. Or if you see someone escaping, you can be like, no, you come back and we're going to finish you off. But you have to be careful about it. You can't just like throw it out willy-nilly, because sometimes like in the middle of a fight that's been going on, it's not going to do much. It's just like, oh, you moved me like 5 feet. Oh, well, I guess you wasted an ability.
And that's one of the things. Being able to retain where someone was 4 seconds ago is going to be, I think, another level of play for somebody to be able to make this work. But the one thing I think that kind of catches my eye, and this applies for this as well as the next ability, or his first ability, but that is that anything, like if you're mounted, you don't get remounted. You just go back to where you were then. So a lot of it is going to be playing with positioning.
Yes, just wanted to another anecdote. First time Garrett played this champion, he did the scummiest thing. He like got master riding. He ran straight to the point, waited for someone to show their face, and rewound them all the way back to base.
So good. Well played.
Yes. I'm glad I'm rubbing off on him.
That is a Charles play.
But that is going to be his all fire. And the next ability, his first ability, is called Second Chance, which is very similar to his alt fire, except it affects himself, and instead of going to the lowest, it goes to the highest.
That's right. So Second Chance, he rewinds himself. And actually what you see on screen is very similar to what the enemy is seeing when they get hit. But a little different. Essentially what happens is you are rewound about 4 seconds back in the past to where you were, and just like you said, it resets your health to the highest value was in that point. So if you're like, you know, brawling it out on the point and you know you've been there for a while, you can use it as like a health reset button, and you know, just like keep on going from there. Or you could do some tricky stuff, like one of my favorite things to do is like, you know, I see someone like trying to back off and retreat behind a corner or something, like just run up there and shoot them in the face. And I know I'm vulnerable, but I can just rewind and go straight back to the point. No problemo.
I can already think of some, with one of his talents, having Second Chance and Setback, being able to potentially run up, reset, then reset yourself. So you dismount them, even though you dismount yourself, you send them way back. They have to walk of shame to the point, and then you're set. You're perfect. You're happy. But that is, you know, I guess rewinding an enemy, rewinding yourself. Time isn't just rewinding people. There's also the ability to kind of slow things down, and that's where his second ability comes in. It's called Stasis Field.
That's right. So Stasis. Oh, Kevin.
Ooh.
Oh,
gave me a little
Kevin
heart
on us there. Yeah, so Stasis Field is his ability 2 is Q. It basically erects a a decently sized, like Fernando shield size wall in front of him, and it is by far one of the like most flavorful abilities ever, I think. So it behaves a little differently from our other shields. It doesn't just, you know, get hit and then the thing is like gone. What it does is it will like slow down whatever gets shot through it and pretty much nullifies like its, you know, offensive capabilities. So like those Cassie arrows, you normally can't see them because they're so fast, but here you can just see them. It's like
cool.
Whoosh in there, and the sound stays on it, so you can kind of get that weird sort of eerie feeling from them, and it's really dope.
This ability really makes him feel like he has actual control over time, which is awesome.
Yes.
This was one of the ones that I've gotten to hear about every single time, but I've never actually seen it in game, and that is an incredible feat. Because I was actually making a joke about this earlier, where it's just you finally get to see what like Cassie's bolts look like, or what a bullet that's go flying by. So you get to actually maybe enjoy.
The Grover axe is amazing.
So good. But dude, like one of the coolest parts is like even bullets. Like Victor, like Roland made a really cool bullet effect that like shoots through it. So it looks like the little thing just like sort of like slows down and like drops. It's really cool.
And so, like other deployables, it seems like this is obviously coming up in front of them. But do you get to place it, or is it just when you hit Q, it goes up in front of you?
It just sort of like is placed in front of you. It's very similar in logic to Barrack's shield.
Makes sense. Yeah. The way things are going, there's going to be the slowdown. And this is probably, again, I think I've said this every single time we've done a rehearsal for this, but this is an ability that you always want to see, but no one has ever done it, at least especially not in a multiplayer game. Like, I've never seen something like this in a game, and it looks amazing.
Yeah, I'm super proud of it.
This is so much fun.
I also love, and this is just a small detail for me, but I love the little timer that you get with his sword.
Oh, yeah. I guess a small detail. This is a perfect shield. Like, it will stop bullets, it will stop projectiles, it will stop projectile ultimates. And we were very careful about, like, we want to maintain like a hard leash on balancing for it. So that clock there is all it's representing the time it's going to be up. It's always going to be 5 seconds. You can't extend the lifetime through cards, and you can't decrease the cooldown through cards, only through Chronos.
So it's only going to be that 5 second uptime for this shield.
Yep.
So if you mistime it even slightly, or if your opponent just waits until it's gone, you're in the clear. You don't have to worry about it. So it's going to be pretty critical, I guess, in timing on that. Plus, I think you said that this one has a pretty decent cooldown on it as well.
Yeah, all of Atlas's cooldowns are 12 plus seconds. They're all powerful.
You can imagine why.
But you've got to be very careful about how you use them. You can't just blow your load and then be like, oh, no, what do I do? Because he is not the beefiest tank. He's got 3,500 health. He's a little fragile. He doesn't have like an aggressive movement ability.
If you think very similar to like a Barrack style play, like you're going to have to be a little bit more careful. You can survive on the point, but you're not going to survive under heavy fire for long, which is why things like second chance are very important to him. But because of that, he is a little on the weaker side in terms of some of the front lines. He also gets a really, really cool ultimate called Exile.
That's right. So I guess Exile is probably one of the more different ultimates we've done in the game. So I guess, quick description, it powers up his awesome gun arm Chrono Cannon and changes its functionality a little bit. And it basically is a CC ultimate that when you get like 3 shots during a little period of time after you've charged up the gun, and anyone you hit will be banished for 4 seconds. And banish is a new sort of CC coming into the game. It's not exactly a stun. What it is it's for anyone who's like played MOBA games, essentially a like get you out of play sort of effect. You're basically stunned as far as you're concerned when you're hit by it, but you're also safe. You can't be shot by enemies, and you can't be healed by allies. You can't be interacted with.
You're out of time.
You are undamageable, unhealable. Yeah. And I think I asked this yesterday, and if I remember correctly, the answer was if your out of combat timer is going down right then, and you're like about to start getting that heal, this will actually pause it. And then when you come back into game, it'll continue, correct?
Yeah, I believe so. I think that was like a little detail I remember the programmer working on this was like trying to put in like, oh, that's really cool. I didn't think of that, but that's really cool.
And one of the things about this, because I can already, the first thing I thought was, man, I'm going to win so many point fights. Yep. But you're banished. Technically, you can't get healed, you can't get damaged, but you are still able to contest a point and contest a payload.
That's right. You're still there. We didn't want to like mess with that. Just feels awful.
Yeah,
if you were
to
there.
Get just removed from the game.
Exactly. So I guess like one thing to note with this is that because it's this very different CC than what's been in the game so far, it's probably the furthest from an I win button as like a lot of our ults are, because it's not necessarily a good thing when you use it. Maybe you actually save the enemy if you take them out of play and they when they were about to be killed or something. It's really good for follow-up play. It's really good for like turning a 5v5 into like a 2v5 or something for a few seconds.
And that is one of the things. So all of those shots are precision shots, but you get 3 of them. So you could potentially get up to 3 people out, but if you miss one, that's immediately one more target that's going to stay on the field that you have to battle.
Yeah, and like Victor ult, you can cancel out of it early after you get like 1 shot in, conserve some of your energy for early ultimate next time. You can also stay into it for like it's like a 5-second period, and the duration of banish is 4. So you can potentially double hit someone if you wait out the entire period with them to also banish them again.
That,
Yeah, very cool.
I can imagine that's going to be my experience playing the new Inaris again. I'm going to be sitting there, and there's going to be that one Atlas player who's going to banish me, and they're just going to wait, and then they're going to banish me again. I can already feel it coming in all of my games. But those are all of his abilities, looking incredible. Again, still playing with time for him. But we also have his talents, and we decided we'd go over these in the order that they're unlocked. And so the very first one is called Unstable Fissure, which affects his second chance.
That's right. So what Unstable Fissure does is when you activate Second Chance, it will essentially leave a little bomb, a little present for anyone who's stuck around in that space that you were just in. Let's see if we can get it up here. No, not Second Fissure. Unstable Fissure. There you go.
Fist you?
No.
I already heard Garrett on the side.
Unstable Fissure.
That's the only the downside of making the cool sounding names is that they do get a little more difficult to spell after a while.
Exactly.
I can already say Temporal Divide. I'm just going to go ahead and spoil that's the name of another one, but temporal is not a word you get to hear all the time.
So as you see there, what he leaves behind is a little, essentially a bomb, an unstable fissure that will explode in about 3 seconds and deal 900 damage to anyone in a decent radius around it. It's a really, really strong tool for controlling point fights. If you're just okay, I need to retreat, I need to get my bearings, but you guys have to get off my point.
Yeah, so you can save the objective and save yourself all in one go.
Exactly. It is on his longest cooldown ability though, so it's not exactly you can't just spam this and just leave bombs everywhere.
No.
And this is one of the things that when I first saw this, because I was given a little more misleading of a description the first time I saw this, but shielding still blocks the damage, still kind of keeps it. So it's not going to be a sky bomb. It's just a regular kind of damaging ability.
Just think of a really big sticky bomb.
Yeah, a really, really big sticky bomb. But that is his first talent that you will get. And I think that's the one that is available with him upon release.
That's right.
And then the next one that you would have to go through and unlock is the one called Temporal Divide. And this one actually affects his Stasis Field.
That's right. This one is maybe one of my favorites, just because of how ridiculous it is. And we're going to keep a close eye on this, make sure it's balanced correctly. So yeah, as you saw right there. It just makes his Stasis Field huge.
That
it makes
never
it
gets old.
6 times bigger, and you can pretty much divide the map. But there is a slight, it's super strong. You can basically lock out a lot of long-range damage dealers this way, but it does have a downside to it. It's one of those few talents with a built-in negative. Your cooldown is increased by 50%, so it goes all the way to 21 seconds.
And so, and it's still just the 5-second uptime on the wall as well.
That's right.
So you're throwing that out there. Yes, it's going to be great coverage, but it's 5 seconds of coverage that maybe a Kinessa isn't going to maybe shoot you, but you're going to have to withstand the longest cooldown that you're going to have.
Exactly. It's just really cool, just doing plays with this, because it's so long, you can potentially angle yourself. If you're still running to the point, you're okay, I know someone needs shielding this way. I'm just going to angle myself and boop.
Being able to find that from a long range, and now you can see finally off cooldown. That's how long it takes. Yes. We had a full little discussion while it was on cooldown, and it's only up for that 5 seconds. But it is a very effective 5 seconds that you'll have there. That is going to be the first one that you unlock. The second talent, and this one's the one I have to make sure I don't do it every single time. But it's called Deja Vu.
I've just been in this place before.
This one affects his setback, and this is the one that when I first saw it, I was this is my go-to, and then I started seeing Temporal Divide, and then I saw all of them. It's going to be really hard to choose which talent you want here, but Deja Vu is a very interesting change to setback.
That's right. So it's another one that sort of changes the functionality of abilities. We really wanted to make his talents feel very different and impactful in gameplay changing ways. So what this does is it makes it changes the setback ability from a straightforward projectile into an AoE lobbed projectile that can potentially rewind a big group of enemies. It's a lot slower, but it's a lot more confirmable because of that AoE, and it is just amazing when you're trying to fight against a death ball comp. They're all just grouped together. Just imagine the classic situation. You're not doing so hot. The payload's rolling in. All 5 of them are just standing there. Someone's doing an emote. Vivian's just shooting endlessly. This one is just okay, I just want to cut that death ball in half. Half of you are now off. Go somewhere else. Let me pick off these other guys.
This was the one that I was thinking. If you get a master riding, you have your own rewind. You have this talent enabled. You run up, You send as many of them back to base dismounted as you possibly can, then you just shoot yourself back to wherever you were and hope for the best at the end of it. But this one's going to be interesting because it is a little more, I want to say, difficult to confirm while easier because it's slower, but because it's a lob, you have to kind of think a little bit more about the angle that it's going to be coming out.
Yeah, you're probably going to want to practice this in the shooting range before you actually like start rocking it.
A lot of fun gameplay, and it's so slow. Like, you could see that coming from a mile away if you're shooting it like that angle. But it is going to be awesome, and those are his 3 talents that are going to be available. All of them looking incredible, and I'm really interested to see which one, because there always seems to be one talent typically for a champion, like in the competitive level that tends to like rise above the rest. I don't know which one this will be. I feel like he is going to be incredibly versatile all around the board.
I hope so. I really hope that just like no one can figure it out and it's just like a 30-30-30-30.
That'd be amazing. But we do not only have the base skin, we also have his recolors and his mastery skins to look at. So you not only get these cool effects, you also get some that are going to be affecting those other skins. And I think we have the lineup for that one. And if I remember correctly, there's not just the recolor and the mastery. There's another one that's going to be in there.
Like Amani before him. We also have a season pass recolor.
Like Amani before him.
The big title. Again, I just want to give a special shout out to the art team, Denny on character art and Adam on weapon modeling. All these across the board are just so awesome. The base recolor, the red atlas you see here, is without a beard. So a little bit of variation from his base versus some of the others.
Going back in time, also rewound his beard.
Clean cut.
Exactly. I love that you can see more of the bionic arm as well.
Yes, yeah. We removed a little bit of the cloth on that one as well.
And so, just to make sure, because I've heard this just a couple times, but that like he doesn't have a hand. Like that is just his arm.
That's a gun arm. Yep.
That is a gun arm. In the future, things get rough.
Things get super rough. This isn't like Torvald where he's got a hand under there. The gun is the arm.
But there is going to be the season pass skin in there as well, and I honestly like it because with the way he has like cloak draped, you can kind of feel like a drifter. So